to the regular meeting of the Preston City Council for Monday, August 11th, 2025. I'll call the meeting to order, and please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Can I get a roll call, Cheryl?
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Bill Meyer?
Yep.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Matt Charity?
Yeah.
Lisa Buddy?
Number 4, the approval of the agenda. Any questions or comments or concerns on that?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
And second?
Second.
And roll call?
Lisa Buddy?
Yes.
Bill Meyer?
Yep.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Matt Charity?
Yeah.
Adam Ryder?
Yes. Number 5, citizen and public comment. I do not see anybody here, so we'll skip over that. Number 6, the consent agenda. Any questions or comments on that? Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
And roll call?
Matt Charity?
Yeah.
Lisa Buddy?
Yes.
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Bill Meyer?
Yes.
All right, number 7, approval of the second reading for ordinance 2025-01, and this is for adding Title 3, Chapter 22, the property maintenance for the purpose of adopting the 2021 edition of the International Property Maintenance Code, and the potential consideration of waiving the third and final reading. Was there anything on here that you wanted to read then, Cheryl?
Just everything for this is
Okay,
the big,
all right. So ordinance number 2025-01, an ordinance adding Title 3, Chapter 22, property maintenance to the code of ordinances of the city of Preston, Iowa. Be it ordained by the Preston City Council, or the City Council of the city of Preston, Iowa, as follows. Section 1, City Code, Title 3, Chapter 22, property maintenance. Title 3, Chapter 22, property maintenance is hereby added to the Code of Ordinances of the city of Preston, Iowa. City Code as follows. Title 3, Community Protection, Chapter 22, and then 3-22-1, Purpose and Scope. And purpose, the purpose of this chapter is to ensure that properties within the city of Preston are maintained in such conditions as to protect and promote the health, safety, and welfare of the residents of the city of Preston and the public at large. And for the scope, this chapter shall apply to all property within the city of Preston, regardless of classification or use. Any questions or comments? Did we hear anything from anyone, Cheryl?
mine has commented.
Questions or anything from?
I don't. It's something we talked about for quite a while.
You know,
Good addition. I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2025-01.
Second.
and then are we gonna waive the third reading?
Can your motion include waiving the third and final reading?
Motion to include waiving the third and final reading.
Second.
Roll call?
Matt Peterson?
Yes.
Adam Ryder?
Yes.
Dylan Meyer?
Yes.
Lisa Buddy?
Yes.
Matt Charity?
Yes.
Number 8, discuss and consider approval of contract with, is it Gort?
Yep.
Okay, got it right. Inspection Services.
and I said, I'll just review that the contract was drafted by our city attorney and reviewed between Terry. He reviewed the contract and agreed with it. It is something that he has used for, that when he provides a service to another city, so he was good with it. And, contract will be in effect, once the ordinance that we adopted is publicized, so I'll send that to the paper. It'll be in the paper next week. By that time, I should have his signature on the contract and we'll be ready to utilize his services.
And it's good for, the contract is for 1 year, $45 an hour, correct?
With a provision that, it's on an annual basis and, every year we'll revise it and with a potential increase of 3 to 5%.
Yeah, it's pretty reasonable.
So is he gonna go around, the lady from ECIA had mentioned, or is this something where we're just gonna call him to inspect on certain
I think we
properties?
decided that we would give him a list and maybe start with 2 or 3 of the bigger hanging fruit to, set precedents and
I
have
see.
him start with them.
Okay,
And then as he sees things and we want to include more, he can start on those, so.
gotcha.
And talked about, that we start with some big items, more of the bigger concerns, and set the precedence of what he's here for and help us to do, and where the city council stands and wants to move forward.
Yep.
And go from there, so we can dictate, he'll come to us too, here's what you suggested, here's what I would solve, we wanna make sure consistency is the key, that everybody's treated fairly, we do it that way. And then he'll come to us and say, here's why I would start, we can say, yeah, or nay.
Mm-hmm, gotcha, okay.
My nice thing about it is third party.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
right.
He knows all the ins and outs of the code, and what he can and can't do.
Yep, and that's what I was gonna say, is he's got that experience, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel that's already out there.
Yeah.
This is what he does, he's worked with,
Right.
small towns from, Oxford Junctions to bigger communities and everything in between, Iowa City all the way down to, a town of what, 500 people maybe, OJ, if that.
Yeah,
If
that's
that.
why it was that bad.
Yeah, so, he has the expertise to do it correctly.
I will make a motion to approve the contract with Gord Inspection Services.
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Dylan Meyer.
Yes.
Matt Peterson.
Yes.
Lisa Buddy.
Yes.
Matt Charity.
Yeah.
Adam Ryder.
Yes. Number 9, cell tower discussion.
I put as an update in your packet, we were approached by Nevco Wireless to see, they're looking for ground to put up a cell tower in their area to improve services in the area. And they noticed the parcel, that the city owns out near the, substation. And he wanted to know if the city had zoning regarding, and which we do not, regarding cell towers. And, would asked if we would consider having him rent that land, having them rent that land, or maybe pay a lump sum of, placing a tower there. So happened to be over the weekend, Ray ran into a representative from ITC, who is the transmission people, they have transmission lines out there. And he said, in most cases, cell towers, the distance they would need away to stay away from would be the height of the tower plus 10%. So they put up a 200-foot cell tower. They need to be clear of all power lines by yardage of 220 feet. So, I didn't tell the gentleman that reached out to me that, but I thought before we get any further into this, would we open to considering allowing this on that land, if it would all work within the power line guidelines and everything.
Where's the property actually at, which parcel?
It's the one that still has the,
Across from like Corey Driscoll's.
Yeah.
Going out towards the cemetery.
where there's currently being crops planted there. We're not getting any money on the crops, they just have continued to always plant there, which is actually less for us to mow and all that, so.
And there's enough distance from the transformers there to go 220 feet away from it?
That is what we need to measure and get more guidelines on if this is doable. Maybe reach out to ITC or WTPI, see if this is even a potentially good fit, but
You just go on Google Maps and find out what the
Yeah.
distance is.
yeah. That's kinda wanted to get your input first, cause
220 feet is quite a ways.
Right.
There's a football field.
Yeah, and it doesn't, you know,
and there's a lot of
Guide
bigger
wires
wires
that,
that have
yeah.
to.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a good fit or not, but I just wanted to know if you guys thought it's worth exploring the possibility.
I mean, I think for the money that they're talking, I think it's definitely worth exploring. The only concern I have is if any of the property owners out that way would have an issue with it. You know, I think of all the stuff going on in Clinton County with the windmills and all that stuff, like certainly don't wanna open it up, something like that, but it's also, obviously it's not a windmill either, so.
Right. But they are big structures, I mean, eventually they're gonna not be useful at some point in time. Who takes them down and who, you know,
Right.
I don't know, there's just a lot of.
yeah. Yes.
I mean, is there any, I mean, to me, it seems like it's a win-win for us. I mean, it's already, as long as it fits in here, it's already it's a city-owned parcel, pretty good chunk of money, you know, and if it's gonna help out cell service in part of our town, I'm not aware of any other concerns, unless you guys would think of anything else, but.
Yeah, what about maintenance if we're having to go that far out and there's crops there now? I mean, obviously you're gonna have to keep that, you know, probably mowed or, you know, kept up a little more than, you know, just crops right now. What do you plan
That's
on
true.
doing?
Those are things that we need to, you know, at least talk about and figure out. So I can reply to him and tell him our concerns and,
I'd probably measure it first, just measure and see if it falls in.
Yeah.
You know,
Obviously, that's the first step, if it's not gonna fit,
If
then
it doesn't fit, it's no.
Then we need to see if
Right,
they find
it's
it.
kind of a moot point.
Yeah. Yeah, he said that he went on with 62 yards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, from the Highlands to the park, it's the south corner.
Gotcha.
alright, well, I'll continue getting some answers and have that on discussion again at another meeting.
Sounds good. Number 10, sale of city vehicles.
Okay. We were, got with the guys and kind of tried to scope through some digger derricks that were like either on the auction block or what they're currently being sold for to get an idea of where to start the pricing for selling that. There's one here that the current bid was at $2,900, and obviously it probably runs where ours don't. That was just one idea, one option, and ours is a lot older than these that I could find. What was ours? 1977, so, you know, the closest one on here, I mean, it's in a lot better condition, that was going for $4,500. Guys kinda thought, well, since it doesn't run, and the cost for just the part to fix it's about $3,000, not including labor, they thought we could probably get between $2,000 and $3,000 for it. If that'd be a good starting point. I mean, we could just, I don't know how you want us to list it for sale, do you want just whatever bids and kinda have it, or do we wanna set a minimum bid?
So I'd set a minimum, say your minimum $2,000 or something.
Mm.
That would be great.
Take the weight of it, figure out what it's worth in scrap.
Right.
That's not
Go from
$2,000.
there.
No.
Start there. and see
As I
what-
start there, and if it sits there for a couple weeks and nothing, then we can always adjust it from there.
And black Ford, now that we have Tim's new truck, the plan was to sell the black Ford and use the Tim's old truck for the dump. So, they thought the guys could probably start asking at least 5 for that.
I think it's worth at least that, but it's got low mileage, the box was, it's got hydraulics, the box is shot, but frame's rusty, cab's pretty decent as far as rust, but four-wheel drive, 1 ton,
What year is that?
05,
Oh,
2005.
that's 20 years old, but
Yeah.
I'd say it's worth 5,000.
I would think so. It would be pretty nice to, maybe, piece of truck to put a flatbed on it.
Exactly.
It's pretty hard to find a
There was
three-quarter.
somebody interested that I just threw a flatbed on, he said, so yeah, that would be ideal.
I think
Yeah.
these can get $5,000.
Yeah, absolutely.
Might be too low, I don't know.
It's wild what used three-quarter ton pickups are going for on.
It's a 1 ton four-wheel drive.
Yeah,
That
absolutely.
one, under 100,000, doesn't it? 80 something,
I wanted to say it was like 80 something.
85 or something last time I was
Is that
looking, I don't
gas,
think
right?
they've used it much.
Gasser?
Yeah.
It's a gas, yeah.
I think it's got the V10 in it, I think.
Is that what it is? I don't remember.
It's either V10 or the 5.4.
What are you buying?
Oh,
Good plow truck.
Got 2 more doors to think about it.
So you think minimum 5,000, okay?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we also have the trencher, it does work, but it needs new wheels, or wheel work done to the wheels, and possibly some other things done. Guys thought we could maybe get $1,000 to $2,000 on that one.
Yeah.
So it started at 1,000 and
I don't know, I went and looked at it one time, I don't remember what it was a whole lot.
And we're gonna, our basic plan is for any trenching needs, we're just gonna rent one for the skid loader, correct? Okay.
Not very handy.
for the amount of trenching we do.
Not much,
Yeah.
Cause any work.
got a
we
skid
do-
loader now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I think $1,000 is fine.
Maybe $1,000 a couple for if you rent one from Kudos, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Get those advertised, and how long do you think we should
Reevaluate next meeting,
leave it over 2 weeks and see what we got? Okay.
and keep it the same or drop it or go from there.
Okay.
Number 11, discuss and consider approval of resolution 2025-01, collection of unpaid utility services and place lien on property taxes.
This, property had previously had a lien on it, and we placed that with the county about a year ago.
We just received the money.
We just received the money, so.
So this is the balance that's left on it.
Yeah. The balance is $381.79 to make that all paid up. We did receive the money from the county from the first lien, so she suggested we go ahead and submit this. It is up for sheriff's auction come October, so I'd like to get it free and clear before then.
That was sitting over 2, wasn't it?
I thought it was 3 something before.
$3,256.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I thought we put the lien on last year right after, at the end of winter.
Yep,
And this is just what's left. And it's,
there's a final bill that hadn't been done when,
Yep.
because they were gonna try to make payments.
Yeah, so but then that'll square us up.
Yep, that'll be,
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2025-01, collecting the unpaid utility services.
And second,
I'll second it.
and roll add some department and admin updates. We've already touched on some of them, but I don't know if you had
Yeah.
anything to share, Cheryl?
We had sidewalk, their new property, new people, bought the property out on East School Street, next to Don and, Mary Olson's house. On the map, you see highlighted in pink, it's kind of a dark pink out by the street, that is where the existing sidewalk is. They would like to remove the sidewalk and, fill in the ditch and add a culvert for drainage. It is the only sidewalk on that whole stretch of road. I mean, it's kind of in the middle of the block, middle of the area and nowhere to go, and it's in pretty bad condition. So if they fill it, Eric took a look at it and he said he'd be okay with it as long as, they put the drainage tube and it's all cleaned out properly and to have the water flowing correctly, so. I just wanted to get your opinion. He thought we should take it to council, just to make sure it's okay that they remove it.
I can completely understand where they're at, but I think then if we say yes, it also goes against everything we're trying to do. So, if there's an existing sidewalk everywhere else in the city and it's bad, we make them fix it. So, again, I can get it, it's a sidewalk that goes nowhere right now, but what is that? It doesn't mean it won't in the near future either, so. Everything we've been saying for the last 2 years completely, if we say, yes, you can tear it out, contradicts everything else we've said.
Right, we had somebody on the north side of town that we told no to, and he was the last one on the block.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I think,
Realistically, that probably should have been on our repair stuff. I mean, it's in the city
Yeah.
limits.
yeah,
So I completely understand, but I think that it's a sidewalk, an existing sidewalk, and you say it's okay to tear it out, then again, that's setting precedence to
Anybody that wants to do it.
100%.
right. Yeah, and I was kind of thinking the same thing. I mean, I totally get where they're coming from. And,
For sure.
to me, sidewalks they're not necessarily typically meant for the property owner themselves. It's for people that are going by the property, and if that's the only
On
one
the
there.
city right away.
But on the flip side, then, that's why we've got all these gaps around town right now, I think, is because that's been allowed to happen. It's like, oh, just,
Correct.
just tear it out and then I won't have a sidewalk.
Yeah, there hasn't been consistency over the years.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
Maybe it's something worth talking to the people around there too, like, I don't know if there's a way to get them to put sidewalks in, but.
Buston's got like a halfways sidewalk, and this is really chopped up last time I was up there.
I haven't been out and looked at it, but just talking in general as far as sidewalks goes, I mean, that's the first thing that popped in my mind when I read it last night.
yeah, no, I thought the same thing.
There's a sidewalk over the culvert, I think there, then there's an old sidewalk on Johnny Driscoll's across from Mike, so it's not, there is sidewalks in that area,
Yeah,
not even a block away, there's a sidewalk on the culvert there, and then right
Yeah.
across the street
So that's the third house, cause
is
it's,
Johnny's, that'd be the second house, right?
well, there's.
Mike,
Eckhart's
that
whole
first-
Oh,
side.
yeah, you're right. But right by Eckert, right over the bridge, I think that's a sidewalk with the
Yeah.
culvert, and then Johnny's has got one going up the hill.
Yeah,
So it's not, so we're saying if we tear that one out, then,
The rest of them
we
will go
tear
on.
theirs out too, because the goal is to get, eventually on School Street, have sidewalks, and that's the side of the street that makes more sense. It'd be easier to do with,
yeah.
the hills on everybody else's side.
Okay, well, we can, see what he says, and if he wants to come to a meeting and talk about it, or how do we wanna proceed with the neighbors or whatever?
yeah, I think it's worth talking about more. It's just,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
I just don't think it's that easy to say, yes, you
Yeah,
can tear it out,
exactly.
because that's not what we've been doing. We've been doing just the opposite.
You can
Yeah.
rip it off, put the culvert in and pour a new cement
Right.
sidewalk through there.
Yep.
Okay. mentioned at last meeting that the first day to take out nomination papers, is August 25th, which is next week, or close to, let's see.
The 25th, I think, is actually the next
Yeah,
meeting.
The next meeting,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
The next meeting. I included in your packets the affidavit, and I did give the people whose seats are up, a copy of the affidavit and the nomination petition. I do encourage you to, I looked at, I didn't print this, but I did put it in the packet. It's a candidate's guide for, I mean, I think people have done it before, but it's nice to review on, there's some just good things on what not to forget when you're filling out those papers, so they're accepted. And because if you wait till the last minute and all of a sudden you're missing an address or a phone number or something on there, you might not be able to be on the ballot. So it's just worth reviewing and looking at that. I did put a post on Facebook. I'll redo it again when it gets a little closer, and there's a link to all these forms and everything on our website now too, so. That's really all I have on that. I did put on the agenda lot purchase update. I know Jesse had been showing up once a month, but so I didn't know if it would possibly be here tonight, but I've had no updates or received anything from him or Joe saying that there is interest in the property or anything, so.
Isn't that a moot issue now? Because every reason that we had that we needed it is now in void. I mean, there is an easement, but he doesn't need to use the sewer because the sewer's adequate. You know, I don't remember everything he said, but, you know, didn't need it for trucking purposes. It's pretty much just be able to get the sewer and stuff through, which is fine. So, I mean, again, what's the purpose of needing it?
I just know that he asked for a final decision in September, so.
Yeah, we all talked about it, if we needed it for the easement to get the sewer through, or reasons like that, I mean, I think every explanation we had on the purposes of needing that property have come to fruition that they're not needed, you know, so other than just buying the lot to make the driveway, I don't see, the city's not hindering him by not allowing him to buy that property at all. You know, again, I'll go back to city precedent, so if there's no valid reason to buy it and be allowed to do it, I don't know if that's a great idea.
Mhm.
You know, the reasons that it's not a good lot, I don't understand that. That's just making it harder for Christensen to sell it, comments like that. And it's a bigger lot than a lot of lots we have in town, and, you know. So I think it's a residential lot, and that's where it should stay. I mean, if Jesse wants to buy and build a house on it, more power to him, but. So I don't know, we just need to keep going through this. I mean, if there's a legitimate reason that he needs it for his business, but everything that he's brought up is not needed at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't know if Jesse wants to come to a upcoming meeting and then maybe talk about it one last time, and then, you know, we just kind of make a final decision at that time.
Yeah.
I basically put on there, thinking he would possibly be here, based on past meetings, so.
Okay.
Let's see.
Looks like we got some police updates.
Yeah. We talked about, the county, or Marla Quinn sent out an email to all of the city clerks in Jackson County. And Chad, if you wanna touch base on this and what we presented at the clerks meeting and what we decided.
Yeah, they'd asked me to come and just give them, the city clerks, an idea of how we handle dog ordinances as far as our our municipal infraction process. It's come up to that, looking at the possibility of, creating a countywide ordinance, animal ordinance. And for example, like if we have lately charged vicious animal, vicious dog, and then by ordinance, they have to remove the dog. Well, it doesn't say they can't move it to Miles or Bellevue or Cocos, so we're trying to all get on the same page, and it's just kind of the beginning stages of exploring that. Marla did call me today and wants to do a Zoom meeting on Friday with Elizabeth Townsend, the County Health Department. It was her idea that she came up with in the first place, Elizabeth Townsend is her name, I believe, about creating this countywide ordinance, so we're all kind of on the same page. So we're just kind of in the beginning phases of exploring that.
She thought there would be fees involved between 15 and 2,000, and based on population, there's a list of what the cost for the city, with Preston's share being like $98.
I talked to Chief Zyman at Coca today, and he supports that, there's just a lot of work to do to try to get everybody on board, or if that comes from the county, and, so.
And the county share would be $813.
You know, say one of the towns doesn't want to do it,
That's just it.
are we gonna still move forward with it?
Well, that's why it'd be nice to see from the county level, county ordinance comes out and we could be under that.
Yeah,
Cities can still choose to, create their own ordinances, but, so yeah, it's just a work in progress. It is gonna take a lot of different moving parts there to get in line and,
you know, I'm just thinking like, you're looking at them like Saint Aeneas, like, you know, is there people that walk around and
Yeah.
get, are hindered by having, dogs that could cause problems, like, I don't see that, I don't know.
yeah, exactly. I see, it's kind of, it seems to me, my opinion is it's gonna be kind of an uphill climb to try to get every community in Jackson County on board, so.
If they don't, we encourage the dog owners to move there.
Yeah, so, exactly.
These are the houses up for sale.
But I think it's a great thing. I mean, we try to, they move out of here and they just move to another community in our county and have the same issues. That's
Yeah, if the funding was there, I think Jackson County's big enough to have their own animal control, like a person that handles this for the cities and the county. I think there's enough volume of calls and incidents, and things like that, but the funding is obviously
Right,
Yeah.
sure.
so.
So we would be in favor of being on board for that cost
I
too.
think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I figured we would. I just wanted to let you know it's being discussed and worked on.
I haven't talked to Spragueville, but I know Miles and Brenda has said that she's been talking to a couple of her council members as well, and they would be on board with it as well, so just maybe in this area, if at the very least,
Tri-city ordinance or
Yeah.
something.
I know a few years ago, we had a ton of dog calls in Miles.
Yeah, and we've had a share here too, and.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
that's about it on that.
Did you have any other updates for anything?
I don't know.
We are in the final stages of getting the preliminary costs for the grid, resiliency grid project. We had one meeting with SEH engineers and Amanda DuPont, and they provided a draft report which we reviewed, and basically the budget numbers, when we're looking at this project, on page 6 of the engineer's estimate probable causes, there's gonna be some changes to that, because Doug's found out that for the remanufactured 25 step-down transformer, they found that a 25 kilowatt doesn't have enough room for the tech changer. And so the $149,000 on there is gonna be closer to 300,000. So that would make the total cost of the project with just the materials for this as $838,000. So currently with just that numbers, 30% of the city match would be 251. The most we would end up being, I feel that we would be in for the full 300,000 that we had talked about, once all these costs are estimated and everything. But we're getting closer, and the application deadline's Friday, so been emailing back and forth with questions from Amanda and getting the information she needs, so hopefully that can get submitted timely and be good to go. So, and then Matt asked me to put on some talk on the pictures at the lagoon.
Yeah, I just been out there quite a bit lately, and I noticed now there's a bunch of tires out there, and I'm not sure, you know where they came from?
The tires came from the weeds. I mean,
Weeds.
the debris back there, I
Out
mean,
there.
the weeds. So they basically pulled the conduit, or the culverts and the tires out from there, just to clean that up. And the tires we can get rid of. Eric did say today that it's $350 a ton to get rid of tires. So he figures there's probably a ton. Where they came from, some of them were part of the playground equipment up at West Side when they took that down. Oh, no, yeah, West Side. And others are just from city vehicles, and, you know, maybe a few are dumped there, but a lot of them were purposely taken out there, but.
Yeah, I think that's something we should just get rid of, we have tires, get rid of them right away, because what that looks like to me, that, you know, as that area's been filled in, it's really turned into, the last couple of years, just a bunch of junk. And when you see the tires out there, the first thing I see is, oh, when I bring my leaves out, oh, here's the place I can dump my tires.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's just 100% invitation for people to start dumping tires out there.
And they just recently brought those out, so they will,
Yeah.
are planning on getting rid of those.
Yeah, and I think just as we have tires, just get rid of them right away. But yeah, that's what caught my eye, it's just like, I think we're inviting people now to start piling them out there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, the culverts, I think, you know, culverts, well, if we don't utilize them, we gotta store them somewhere, that's a great place to
Right,
put them.
yeah.
You know?
That's what they kinda said.
Yeah, I think that's awesome, but the tires just seem really inviting to me to start dumping
Right.
in there.
Like, oh, there's a big pile, what's one more on the pile?
Exactly, nobody's
Yeah.
gonna notice, we start
Right.
putting some out here, you know? And then, you know, the bus, and the bus has been there for a year or two now, and you can see it from 64, and one vehicle's there, now another vehicle, and it's just, I think they're for the fire department stuff, but they just keep showing up out at the lagoon, and if we're gonna do something with them, great, but let's do
Yeah.
something with them.
So the plan with those is we try to set up one big training with, the ambulance, the fire, the police and everything, and that's still in the works, so we have really no place to store them. And when somebody says, hey, we have a vehicle, but it needs to get out of here, it's our donation, but we can't keep it, so we like the vehicles, but yeah, it kinda sucks, we just have no place to put them. So that was kind of the area they just went to, gravitated to,
So,
I guess.
and we need training, I get it, but will we train before we keep taking more on, we don't need any more, do we?
No, I don't, that should be it. The prom accident and stuff like that, that's why we like to bring them in, if somebody's willing to donate them. By the time they're at the junkyard, they're ready,
Yeah.
past training.
Again, I
on-
think it's just, you know, an invitation for
Yeah.
somebody to,
For sure.
you know, kids that screw around and get in them, or somebody get hurt, I just think it's a, you know, I get the training, you gotta have somewhere to put them, but it's just.
Yeah.
Would it be
Not
better
on
to
city
rope them?
property,
Would it be better to maybe rope them off and put a
if
sign
somebody
saying-
still jumps the rope and they get in
Well,
there and get hurt, you're still
yeah.
liable, but.
Yeah.
I know, but just so they know the purpose of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the bus has got one more training on it, another big training on it, it's gonna be out the door. That one's hard to get a hold of, the vehicle's not so much, but a bus to
Yeah.
train out's a tricky one.
No, I get it, I get it, just, you know, it's starting to look pretty tacky out there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a better spot to put that stuff out, you know, maybe that's not right by the burn pile. I mean, you don't wanna go to the south, that really would stick out, you know, or the
I just wanna bring, the tires is the biggest thing, but
Yeah.
vehicles keep showing up and stuff, I just thought it was good to talk about it.
Yeah.
One thing that wasn't on the agenda, but Nancy Kiefer approached me today. West Side Park has the can collections, and currently the sign, it says that cans are being donated for park improvements at West Side Park. Well, they don't have a project to put that money towards currently, so she asked around at Western Growth and Development, and other people think it would be a great project to continue to collect cans and, have the project being a electronic sign down at Tudor Park. Electronic sign,
Sign, like the
Yeah,
school has.
absolutely.
and it's something that I think that was even on our goals list to maybe get that.
How much do they collect a month on that?
I think they're,
It's almost like $1,000 a month.
And a year will have a sign paid for.
Usually when they bring the money, it's like
oh, how much
$500
they learn
a time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
they usually bring it in twice a month.
So I think, do we still have the projects open for West Side and Peppermint, or, I don't know if it would just make sense to close it out and then just have like one park committee
Talk about
line
that,
item,
yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think to me, that's the ultimate goal, is you just have park
Well,
committee, and then if there's, you know, if they focus on one park for a while, that's fine, but
Well,
then.
after they get done the Fit Floor project, and then they were gonna start on, other projects for the West Side Park, we renamed that fund from Fitcor to West Side Park Improvements.
Yeah.
Well, now that that's pretty fund has kind of been, it's possible we can just rename it and say Community Improvement Fund.
Right,
And just.
or just park improvements, or, yeah.
If
I
they
mean,
wanna work on parks, just leave the parks.
Right,
Park
yeah.
improvements.
Then it's just kind of, yeah, if there's.
Cause then if there's a project that comes up in the community that, not actually in a park, they can still
Yeah.
collect money for that too. And they always come to us before they want to start a project and apply for grants for projects. You know, they just wanted me to bring it up and see if they had their blessing to go ahead and make that their next focus.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, I think now we've got these big projects done, I think there just needs to be one committee, I don't think there needs to be the separate subcommittees at this point.
And we can tell her to, and there's a grant that we're looking to, there's a Jackson County Community Foundation in Jackson County that, has grants for this kind of stuff too, and that opens up September 1st to the 31st, so we'll see if we can get a little money that way and make it a community project, maybe get community involvement, I don't know. Anything that is needed that anyone can advertise down there, you know, be a lot easier than having Pansy change the letters all the time.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, more, it would be utilized more often and easier to do, and I think a lot of people that would, not really advertise, but like community functions like the Lions
So
Club
when
and
you
the blood
had more than
drives.
one thing going on.
Right,
then
exactly, then you
get
can
it all
rotate
on
'em.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they would contribute to it as well.
I don't have people lining up for that job when Pansy wants to retire from it, do you?
Yeah,
Chad Gruber.
Yeah.
yeah, she's done amazing, whether it's hot or cold or raining or snow, she's got them letters changed, so. And then the last thing, where did I put that, it's down here. We may just, have to have another electric committee meeting, I didn't get this in, I don't know if I put this in my drive or not, but, Ray and I have been working on getting some kind of agreement for what Ellis is gonna pay for getting the transformer to the back of his 12-plex that he's putting up, so. Basically the wire's $4.45 a foot, you need 3 strands of it. So the city cost already from the before, getting it to the west side of West Street was, there's a little typo there because Ray forgot to take that last number that decided times 3, so that he takes blame for that. So the city's cost for going 500 feet and then going the additional 400 feet would get it all the way back to the end. And the cost for plowing the conduits in is $6.50 a foot, and the conduit itself is $4.72 a foot. And they figured it'd be maybe another 2 days' wages, another day's wages to get it all the way back, as opposed to just to the street. The equipment is, regardless, we're gonna need it anyway, there wouldn't be any additional cost on the equipment. Alliance, we would have to pay them anyway to set the transformer, regardless if we set it just to where we were gonna put it, or we set it way back there, so that isn't really part of, we did feel was, should be.
But we're
an
gonna put a
addition.
cabinet with it up by the street though, so that would be extra cost for us. You know, if we put the transformer there, we wouldn't have to put a cabinet, right?
Right, right.
So there is extra cost because we're gonna put the cabinet, you know, if we set the transformer there, it'd just be a transformer. But now we're gonna set a cabinet and then also set the transformer. So, I'm not saying that we shouldn't just include it, but
Why do we need a
there is
cabinet?
more cost.
Why do we need a cabinet in the back but not next to the road?
The cabinet would be by the street.
Cause you can't pull it that far, right?
Yeah,
It's too far of a
exactly.
pole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it'd come up out of the ground, come in the cabinet, and then, you know, connect,
I
and
see
pull
what you
back
mean.
to the
Okay.
transformer again. So, you know, there is cost, more
Yeah.
cost associated. Again, that's not that, you know, this, you can't do that, but just so you do know, there is more money than that.
And these are, obviously, we're not gonna know if this is exact, I mean, it's as close as we can get for estimations. So